Hey everyone, Kyle Mike here from MLive.com. Justin Rogers, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm back.
He's back after a 2-week hiatus or so for Baby Q.
Something like that.
So you're not the only one who's making an appearance, shall we say, at Lions facility today, and the other guy doesn't compare to your celebrity stature or anything, but Champ Bailey, you might have heard of him. Lions working him out. What's your reaction to that news?
That was a hell of an impromptu segue, Kyle. I'm impressed. Champ Bailey.
Only the best for you.
It's a big name. We're talking a 12-time Pro Bowler, 7-time All-Pro. It's about the biggest name out there in the free agent market, especially at cornerback, which we agree is the biggest position in need for the Lions. I don't know if Bailey can help. He only played a few games last year with a foot injury. A foot injury cost him most of the preseason and got him axed in New Orleans before it ever got going. He's 36 years old. I don't know how much is left in the tank. I don't know if this is a Rashean Mathis resurgence case, but it's certainly a good case to kick the tires. You want to see what's there. It's an area of weakness. It's a great player with a Hall of Fame resume, and you want to see what he brings to the table.
With the way the Lions structured their first 53-man roster, I mean, you fully expect them to make some move at cornerback at some point. They only kept 5. You almost always keep 6, or the Lions have in the past. And so they definitely left a room on their roster for an extra cornerback at some point. Whether that cornerback is actually Champ Bailey remains to be seen. If it happens, I'd expect it to happen probably next week at the earliest, right? Because then they don't have to pay him all that money. They can pay him. They don't have to guarantee his contract, basically, by signing him after the first week of the season. And so if this happens, I'd expect it to happen probably next week, if at all. I think I'm not sure what he has. He's 36 years old. We haven't seen him play a lot in a couple of years now, but the Lions are not exactly exemplary in the secondary either, and so he might be a depth guy. I'm not sure if he's interested in being a depth guy, but when your first reserve end is Cassius Vaughn, there is room for improvement there, it would seem.
Yeah, and sometimes when you're a depth guy, you go to a situation where you know that it's likely that a starting job will open up. I would use Shaun Hill as an example here. Shaun Hill left Detroit, went to St. Louis, and knowing that Bradford was injury prone, and now Shaun Hill is the starter that came to fruition pretty fast. Cornerbacks get hurt, and there's a lot of anxiety here about the secondary. There's going to be probably constant calls for change if it doesn't work out well. So, Bailey would have an opportunity to play here if healthy, but that's a big question mark.
It is, yeah, and the Lions have some question marks in terms of depth, but there's question marks I think in the starting ranks too. And I like what Rashean Mathis did last year, and I like what I've seen from Rashean Mathis this offseason. I'm not knocking the guy, but the guy did just turn 34 years old. You never know how a guy like that's going to hold up over the course of a 17-week season. And Darius Slay, he's a total unknown. I like what I've seen this offseason. Everyone talks about him being better, and I think there's real hope for him to be better this year. But just how much better? Is he going to be competent week in and week out? Is he going to have the highs and lows that he did last year? A guy like Darius Slay, I think, is susceptible to highs and lows because he's so athletic. He can play. He can play athletically, but mentally, I'm not sure if he's quite there yet. He's got a lot of things to learn yet, and so there are question marks on both those spots. I think even in the starting lineup, and perhaps Champ Bailey could provide something in that regard.
I've been trying to temper expectations on Slay all offseason. I really believe it's going to be an up and down year for him. Immensely talented. I think he's going to make a lot more plays this year, but these new rules are not new rules, but emphasis on pass interference, illegal contact, defensive holding, they're going to impact a guy like Slay. He's definitely a grabby type cornerback. That's something that comes from playing in the SEC. It's going to be a big adjustment for him. I think he's going to frustrate Lions fans at times, but be patient with him. He's only going to continue to get better.
The Lions have 5 cornerbacks. They've worked out Champ Bailey today. They've worked out several other guys this week as well. Do expect a move at some point. I'm not sure if it'll be Champ Bailey, but I do expect an acquisition to be made at some point next week or so. For Justin Rogers, I'm Kyle Meinke. We're MLive. Keep it right here.